Hi, this is Jack from Maths Forge, and in today's lesson, we're going to be doing compound units. So let's take a look at our first example. Here we're being asked to find the density when the mass is 40 grams and the volume is 5 centimeters cubed. So the first thing that we should do before we actually calculate this is take a look at the density triangle. Here it is. So we can see here that the density is equal to the mass divided by the volume. And if we just write out this equation normally, the density is equal to the mass divided by the volume. I use the density triangle as it's much easier to navigate through which calculation you need to do. So if you wanted to find density, you'd cover your thumb over density, and then what would be left is m over v. So if you cover density, you have mass divided by volume. And if you wanted to find volume, you'd cover the volume with your thumb, and what you'd have left is mass over density. And of course, if you cover the mass with your thumb, then what you'd have left is density and volume. So to find the mass, cover it with your thumb, and then it will be density times volume. But in this case, they're asking us to find the density when the mass is 40 grams and the volume is 5 centimeters cubed. So let's go ahead and do that. The density is equal to the mass divided by the volume. And in this case, 40 divided by 5 is equal to 8. And the units are going to be the units of the mass, which is grams, per centimeters cubed, which is the units of the volume. So to actually write the units is pretty straightforward. Since we're doing mass divided by volume, you're just going to put the units of the mass first and the units of the volume second. And if we check our answer, there it is. We'll do another one-star example, this time with pressure. So for pressure, the formula is pressure is equal to force over area. And if we do our pressure triangle, it looks like this. We can see that if you want to find pressure, you just cover this up. And then the pressure is equal to the force over the area. If you want to find area, you cover this one up. And then it's equal to the force divided by the pressure. And of course, if you wanted to find the force, you'd cover this one up. And it would be equal to the pressure multiplied by the area. But in this case, we're being asked to find the pressure when the force is 63 newtons and the area is 7 meters squared. So pressure in this case is equal to 63, which is the force, divided by the area, which is 7. And 63 divided by 7 is going to give us 9. And the units are going to be newtons, as this is the units for force, which is on top, per meter squared, which is the units for area, which is at the bottom, meters squared. So this should be our final answer, 9 newtons per meter squared. And if we check our answer, there it is. Now we'll do a 2-star example. Here we're being asked to find the distance when the speed is 11 meters per second and the time is 8 seconds. So the formula for speed, distance, and time is that speed is equal to the distance divided by the time taken. And now if we draw the speed, distance, time triangle, it looks like this. So if you want to find speed, you cover it up, and that's going to be distance divided by time. And if you want to find time, you cover that up. It's going to be distance divided by speed. And finally, if you want to find distance, you cover it up, and it's going to be speed times time. So here we're being asked to find the distance when the speed is 11 meters per second and the time is 8 seconds. So to find distance, it's going to be speed times time. And of course, the speed in this case is 11 and the time is 8. So the distance should be 88 meters. Since it is meters per second, the unit is going to be meters. And if we check our answer, there it is. Now for the 3-star example, we're being asked to find the volume when the density is 9.5 grams per centimeters cubed and the mass is 85.5 grams. So if you remember, density is equal to mass over volume. And in this case, they're asking us to find the volume. So that's going to be mass over density. And the mass in this case is 85.5 grams, and the density is 9.5. So if we do 85.5 divided by 9.5, we should get for the volume 9 centimeters cubed. And of course, because the density is per centimeters cubed, the units for the volume is going to be centimeters cubed. And if we check our answer, there it is. And that's it for the lesson on compound units. Remember to make an effort to remember the formulas, and especially to remember your triangles for density, for speed, and for pressure.